We're counting down the 20 weirdest facts you never knew about the original 1979 Mad Max Interceptor, ranked from humble beginnings to survival against all odds. Think you know movie cars? Think again. This list exposes factory stock secrets, builder backstories, wild movie magic, shoestring budgets, and near tragedies most fans never imagined. From improvised stunts and convincing technical fakery to astonishing twists that pushed the Interceptor from junkyard reject to global legend, each entry pulls back the curtain even further. But which fact reveals how the Interceptor nearly vanished forever, only to become priceless? Let's kick things off with number 20, the not-so-special car that started it all. Number 20. The Mad Max Interceptor didn't start out as a cinematic monster. It rolled off the line in November 1973 as a plain white Ford Falcon XBGT hardtop, fitted with a 351 cubic inch V8 and a 4-speed top-loader gearbox. This was a regular Australian muscle car. No black paint, no wild nose, just a stock GT. Art director John Dowding wanted a Ford Mustang for the film, but the budget said otherwise. Instead, the team settled for the homegrown Falcon. Let that sink in. A car now legendary around the globe began as an everyday coupe, chosen because it was cheap and available. Number 19. GraphX International's Melbourne workshop became ground zero for the Interceptor's transformation. Ray Beckerly and John Evans handled the mechanical overhaul, while Rod Smythe laid down the paint. But here's where it gets interesting. Peter Arcadipane, known for his custom van work, supplied the now legendary Concorde nose. That wasn't a bespoke film part. It was adapted straight from Arcadipane's earlier designs. Even the roof and boot spoilers weren't new. They were literally stripped from Bob Jane's retired race Monaro. Every modification was hands-on, improvised, and personal. Think about that for a second. What started as a plain Falcon became a legend thanks to a handful of builders working with borrowed parts. Number 18. The budget for every car in Mad Max was capped at just 20,000 Australian dollars total. That's not per car, that's for all of them. The entire film had about 350 to 400,000 to spend, but when it came to vehicles, they had to make do with less than what a single new sedan cost at the time. 3 Falcons were bought for under 20 grand combined, including one repossessed GT picked up at auction. Let that sink in. A movie legend built from cars no one else wanted, all because there wasn't enough cash to do it any other way. Number 17. The Interceptor's 8 side pipes looked like pure V8 mayhem, 4 on each side, promising the roar of a monster. Here's what most fans don't know. Only 2 of those pipes actually worked. The other 6? Total fakes, capped off and bolted to the body. But here's the wild part. They were all mounted together, so when the real pipes vibrated, the dummy pipes shook right along with them. That's movie magic on a shoestring. And that thunderous exhaust note? It wasn't the Falcon at all. The crew dubbed in a Chrysler Hemi soundtrack after filming. Let that sink in. The Interceptor's legendary sound was pure Hollywood illusion. Number 16. The Interceptor's supercharger was pure movie magic. That YN blower sitting on top of the engine, it never pushed a single pound of boost. Instead, the crew bolted a hollow case to the air cleaner, with the whole thing dangling a foot above the motor. Here's what most fans don't know. A 12-volt motor inside the blower spun it up when Max flicked the dash switch. The belt freewheeled. The switch wasn't wired to the engine, and the entire setup was for show. Real superchargers can't just be turned on and off. Let that sink in. The Interceptor's most iconic feature was a prop, not a performance part. Number 15. The Concorde nose wasn't created for Mad Max at all. Peter Arcadipane designed it in 1977 for custom vans, hoping to catch the eye of Australia's car mod crowd. But here's where it gets interesting. The Interceptor's on-screen debut flipped the script entirely. Instead of the film borrowing a famous part, the movie made the part famous. After Mad Max hit theaters, demand for the Concorde nose exploded. Arcadapani and aftermarket suppliers reported hundreds sold in the years that followed. Think about that for a second. A van accessory became a cult icon, all thanks to a low-budget action film. Let that sink in. Movie magic didn't just sell tickets, it launched a whole new business. Number 14. Guerrilla filmmaking defined the Mad Max set from day one. George Miller and Byron Kennedy shot high-speed chases on public roads without a single permit in sight. No safety barricades, no official road closures, just a handful of crew blocking traffic and hoping for the best. Here's where it gets interesting. Even basic communication was a gamble. They couldn't use walkie-talkies because the frequencies matched local police, risking a visit from the real law mid-shoot. After every take, the directors themselves grabbed brooms and swept debris off the asphalt to avoid drawing attention. Think about that for a second. Every wild stunt was staged in a legal gray zone, with the filmmakers literally cleaning up their own mess to stay one step ahead of trouble. Number 13. The Interceptor wasn't just a showpiece, it was the only car they had, pulling double duty as the hero and the stunt vehicle. Every burnout, every high-speed slide, every close-up of Max at the wheel risked the one car that carried the whole film. The stakes weren't just mechanical. Lead stuntman Grant Page pulled in $1,000 a week, serious money for a low-budget shoot. But the biker extras had it tougher. With no cash for transport, they rode their own motorcycles all the way from Sydney to Melbourne just to appear on screen. Let that sink in. The Interceptor was one crash away from disaster, and the people around it worked and traveled on fumes. Number 12. The Road Warrior Interceptor took its movie magic to a new level with a trick that fooled millions. For those dramatic shots of the blower kicking in, the car wasn't tearing down the highway under its own power. Instead, it was strapped to a low loader, a flatbed trailer rigged to roll behind a camera truck. The engine could be started or stopped while the car was in motion, letting filmmakers fake the blower's on-off switch with perfect timing. But here's the wild part. A full welded roll cage was added, transforming the once bare interior into a fortress of steel. That hidden skeleton saved lives during stunt work, even as the dash switch for the blower remained a total fake. Let that sink in. What looked like raw speed was actually a careful ballet of safety, illusion, and technical ingenuity. Number 11. Every frame of Mad Max ran through a single battered 35mm lens. The crew scavenged discarded lenses from the getaway, but only one survived the abuse, so the entire film was shot with it. Editing didn't happen in a studio either. Tony Patterson cut the movie in a friend's flat, hunched over a homemade editing table built from scrap wood and tape recorders. There was no professional edit bay, just ingenuity and desperation. Here's what most fans don't know. Those gear shortages forced close-ups, tight action, and a gritty style that became the film's signature. Let that sink in. The Interceptor's legend was shaped by equipment nobody else wanted. Number 10. The Interceptor nearly disappeared into obscurity the moment filming wrapped. The production ran out of money, so instead of a payday, mechanic Murray Smith got the car as settlement for his unpaid labor. Let that sink in. What's now a piece of movie legend was, in 1979, just a battered Falcon handed over to clear a debt. Smith stripped off the fake blower and side pipes, registered it for street use, and started driving it to work like any other used car. He even put it up for sale, asking $7,500 with no takers for 2 years. Classified ads and faded photos tell the story. The Interceptor was just another unwanted muscle car, its cinematic glory already forgotten. Here's what most fans don't know. The hero of Mad Max almost vanished into the daily grind, a legend left unsold on the curb. Number 9. Warner Brothers didn't just want the Interceptor back, they hunted it down. By the time Mad Max 2 was gearing up, the car was sitting idle in Murray Smith's garage, stripped of its movie magic and gathering dust. Then the call came. "Bring a battery. The car's coming home." That was the studio's actual message, a blunt reminder of how little they cared about the car just months earlier. Payment was made, the deal was done. But here's where it gets wild. The original fake blower, the centerpiece of the Interceptor's silhouette, was already gone. Lost forever, vanished into the world of hot rod oddities or scrap. For the sequel, the crew had to fabricate a new one from scratch, chasing the ghost of a prop nobody thought to save. Let that sink in. The studio that once let the car go for unpaid bills now paid to resurrect it, only to find its most famous part missing for good. 8th place, the Road Warrior's destruction car wasn't just a backup. It was built to be sacrificed. For the climactic crash sequence, the crew constructed a second Interceptor, knowing full well it wouldn't survive. Here's where it gets intense. Stuntman Guy Norris, already carrying a steel pin in his leg from a previous accident, pushed through a brutal bike crash. The impact bent that pin 20 degrees, an angle no human bone should ever see. Medical reports confirmed the injury, but the footage didn't land on the cutting room floor. The production kept the raw, unfiltered crash in the final film. Let that sink in. One expendable car, one real-life injury, and a take so authentic it made the audience wince. The cost of movie mayhem wasn't just wrecked sheet metal, it was bodies on the line, captured forever on film. Number 7. The Interceptor's luck ran out when the studio handed down a brutal order. Every vehicle from the Road Warrior, including the hero car, was to be scrapped. Liability memos and storage invoices piled up, sealing the fleet's fate. The Interceptor, once the crown jewel of the set, was stripped of its glory and sold off to a local wrecking yard as just another surplus asset. But here's the wild part. The car didn't stop there. It changed hands again, bouncing from one yard to another, each time edging closer to the crusher. Let that sink in. The very machine that survived high-speed chases and on-set chaos was nearly lost forever, not to a stunt gone wrong, but to a bureaucratic death sentence. The legend hung by a thread, waiting for a miracle that hadn't yet arrived. Number 6. The Interceptor's survival came down to a matter of minutes in a dusty Australian wrecking yard. Bob Fursenko arrived just as the car was about to be crushed for scrap. Yard logs and restoration photos confirm he bought it on the spot, saving the battered hero from oblivion. The paint was faded, parts were missing, and the car still bore scars from stunt work and years of neglect. Fursenko didn't just restore it. He put it on the road, touring shopping centers across Australia and charging admission for fans to see the real deal up close. Interest spiked, then faded, and by the early 90s, the Interceptor was sitting in a mall with a for sale sign taped to the windshield. In 1992, it shipped out to a UK collector, and by 2011, it crossed the Atlantic again, this time to a Florida museum. Think about that for a second. A car rescued from a crusher became a globe-trotting survivor, its legend only growing with each narrow escape. Number 5. The Interceptor's story takes a wild turn in Fury Road, where it returns not as a museum piece, but as the battered, battle-ready Razor Cola. Absent from Thunderdome, the car was reimagined for Mad Max's Desert Odyssey, a Frankenstein of off-road rails, lifted suspension, and sand-scarred bodywork. Colin Gibson's crew didn't just restore a classic, they built multiple fresh Interceptors from scratch, each engineered to survive the film's brutal stunts. Let that sink in. The original hero car, now a collector's artifact, was never risked. Instead, its cinematic legacy evolved on screen, with at least one Razor Cola sacrificed in Fury Road's final battle. Here's what most fans don't know. The myth outgrew its own chassis. The Interceptor became a symbol, rebuilt and destroyed for a new era, its legend reborn every time it met its end in the wasteland. Number 4. The Interceptor didn't just conquer the screen, it sparked a global industry. Replica builders like Mad Max Cars have turned the Pursuit Special into a business, offering road-legal clones with every detail, down to the fake blower and Concorde nose. Die-cast giants. Greenlight and Auto Art produce miniature interceptors for collectors, while Japanese model kits from Aoshima let fans build their own at home. The aftermarket hasn't slowed down. Concorde noses are still sold to this day, decades after Peter Arcadipani's original design. Here's where it gets interesting. In 2014, a replica signed by Tim Allen sold for a staggering $175,000. Let that sink in. A car that started as a movie prop now fuels a worldwide economy of toys, kits, and show cars. The Interceptor's image has become a product in its own right, generating more cash and copycats than almost any other film car in history. Number 3. The phrase, "last of the V8 Interceptors," didn't just stick in the script, it detonated across car culture worldwide. The Interceptor's silhouette, that blacked-out menace with its fake blower and Concorde nose, became a meme before memes had a name. Hot rod builders in the US and Australia started cloning the look, slapping "last of the V8" decals on everything from Camaros to Commodores. Think about that for a second. What began as a budget workaround in a low-budget Aussie film turned into a badge of honor for customizers and gearheads everywhere. Fan conventions from Tokyo to Texas still draw crowds for replica interceptors, and pilgrimage road trips to filming sites are a rite of passage for diehards. But here's where it gets interesting. The car's design and that legendary phrase didn't just shape car shows. They fueled the cyberpunk aesthetic, inspiring everything from Japanese manga to the dystopian vision of The Matrix. Let that sink in. One movie prop, one offhand catchphrase, and suddenly the Interceptor isn't just a car, it's a global icon, a symbol of rebellion, and the blueprint for 1,000 post-apocalyptic dreams. In second place, the Interceptor's value leap defies belief. After years of being dismissed as a used-up prop, the same car that once sat unsold with a faded "for sale" sign now commands multi-million-dollar offers. In 2020, the Deezer collection reportedly turned down a straight $2 million cash bid, flat out rejected. That's not internet hype, that's a documented museum statement. And it didn't stop there. Speculation quickly ballooned, with insiders whispering about numbers as high as $5 million. For context, the Bullitt Mustang, another cinematic legend, fetched $3.4 million at auction. Let that sink in. The Mad Max Interceptor, a car nobody wanted for years, is now valued higher than Steve McQueen's Holy Grail. What was once unwanted junk is now a crown jewel, its price tag rising every time collectors argue about authenticity. But here's the wild part. The story isn't over yet. The car's survival is even more improbable than its price. That's the final twist waiting in the wings. And finally, in first place, the Interceptor's legend is built on survival. 3 times, this car was inches from oblivion. First, it sat unsold after filming, just another used Falcon nobody wanted. Then came the studio's scrap order. Every Mad Max car was doomed, the Interceptor included. Twice more, it landed in wrecking yards, waiting for the crusher. But each time, fate intervened. Today, what was nearly junk is a museum centerpiece, valued in the millions. Let that sink in. The car's wildest ride wasn't on film, but in the fight to stay alive. From a plain white 1973 Falcon X BGT to a museum piece nearly worth millions, these 20 weird facts reveal the Mad Max Interceptor's wild journey from scrapyard reject to pop culture legend. Let that sink in. The very car that defined post-apocalyptic cool was almost scrapped 3 times, sold for just $7,500, and survived only through sheer luck and the passion of its builders and rescuers. Across every entry, a pattern emerges. Raw ingenuity, masking budget limits, movie magic hiding mechanical fakery, and danger never far from the surface. The most shocking details aren't just the fake blower or the dubbed exhaust, but how close this icon came to vanishing forever. The ranking makes clear. What qualified each fact wasn't just surprise, but the way each one exposes the hidden complexity behind a seemingly simple screen car. In the end, the Interceptor isn't just a film prop. It's proof that legends can be built on risk, resourcefulness, and a bit of cinematic luck. The car's survival story is as wild and improbable as Max's own.